Well, good evening. It is me again, Ryan Sins. You're on Def Ken TV. I have a special guest that I'm very excited about today. This is Garrett Scott. Welcome, Garrett, to our program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, just a few things that I've been curious about. Are you deaf or hearing?
I'm deaf, yes.
All right, so you are deaf. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
Well, I've been practicing with mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've been really working on that and getting better at it.
And wrestling, MMA, what is mixed martial arts? Tell me about that.
Well, MMA is actually what it means is mixed martial arts. And what that means is it's sort of a combination of all of them. I mean, you'll see UFC, but what that is a brand name for MMA, mixed martial arts. And what MMA means is sort of a mixture of a bunch of different ones. I have all of them included in me. There's wrestling. And it's a small little group, and then there's boxing, and then there's another style that is karate, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then there's judo,
So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, tell me about what's involved in that.
Yeah, hold on just a second. The judo, there's the last one I was talking about. It's a different way of fighting, but if you take all of them, not just one singular kind, but if you get a little bit from each of them and make it into one, that's where you get mixed martial arts from. It becomes MMA.
Oh, I see.
But anyway, that aside, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the one that I've started, really undertaking and working on. To what that BJJ is for short, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's 3 words,
okay,
it's down from South America, I believe, down in Brazil, obviously. And so I've been working on that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and trying to get better at that. And I've practiced, spent a lot of time working on my technique. I mean, there's so many different moves and styles that you can do. And, it helps me lose weight.
So later maybe you can give us a demonstration of that.
Right, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your first experience with wrestling.
Well, okay. I started in wrestling back in high school and middle school, really. It was about 8th grade, I guess. I said I really wanted to learn that, but it was frustrating when I was trying to get it up. See, I was picked on, I guess, bullied, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I see.
And so I didn't really know what to do. I was always just getting picked on all the time. It was really frustrating to me. And so I thought, I'll join wrestling. And so, I got on in the wrestling group, and I was kind of learning to protect myself and get a little stronger and just a few different ways to do things. And eventually it progressed and went on from there. And I was really starting to like it, and I was competing and I was working out with it more and more. And it really helped a lot.
So what school did you attend?
Well, I was at TSD, which is Texas School for the Deaf, when I started
yes.
wrestling, down in Austin, Texas here.
Okay, and where do you live now?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so you're right next to the Texas capital, that area.
Mm-hmm.
So after high school, you went into the hearing world and started getting involved in different aspects of the wrestling world, or tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, really, when I graduated, after that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was a whole new world, a hearing world, and I didn't know what to do, what I was planning on doing. And so then I just kind of wanted to go to college. I went to SWID, which is a college here. They didn't have any wrestling program at all.
Oh, really?
And so, then I was just studying and trying to better my education. And I ended up moving down here to Austin, the ACC, which is Austin Community College.
Okay.
And I was taking classes there, but I had really started gaining weight because when I was wrestling at, right around 160, 165 pounds.
165, okay.
But then, after I graduated, my body just, went south, and I started getting big around the belly, my face filled out, and I started weighing a lot more, and I was, my family was concerned. And they said, really, you need to do something, start exercising, you need to lose some weight. And so, I tried to get into some things, and I'd join them, and then I'd stop doing them, and I'd, bounce from thing to thing. And then, I found wrestling, and I decided to be like an assistant coach, working with the kids and that kind of stuff, and at TSD, and I really started, matching with it, and it was kind of what I was feeling, for my spirit. I felt a real strong connection with it, and so I didn't want to be, limited to things, and actually it was going to help me lose my weight. And so Austin Community College had judo.
Oh, really?
And so I started kind of taking that. It involves throwing the opponent and stuff like that. And I was getting, really better at that. And one person, gave me something there at judo, and I was kind of checked into it when I looked at it, and I was like, wait a minute. And I saw what it was. I mean, it looked like wrestling, but there were throws and turns, and I couldn't really figure it. It was like a pin, but it wasn't really a pin. And the guys were rolling around, and you put them on their back, and that's not how you win. And I was really just trying to figure out what it was. I was fascinated by it, and there were submissions you could tap out. And I was like, what is that? And I was really curious about it. And I decided to, to look it up. And a friend of mine had given it to me. I was asking him questions about it, asking him, what is that? And he said, that's BJJ, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, So, I didn't really know what that was. I was curious. And I decided to delve into it a little bit more and do some research. And I found out what it was called and what it was all about. And, one of the people that really knows about that, I decided to join. But all that aside, really, the judo thing is what kind of set it up. And I found out that the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, was what I like. There's the Gracie family, the Royce Gracie family, and they're the ones who established Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here. And it's really just started to grow, spread like wildfire, with everybody, coming in and getting in and fighting using that style with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I studied under them, under the Gracies. And their family. And, I was really fascinated by watching them and learning their style and their technique. And so I decided, to see what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was all about. And, at first I was big and awkward, and I wasn't the most, skilled guy, but I remembered some of the things from wrestling, and that helped me, because wait a minute, I'm not supposed to pin them, but, I was trying to use my wrestling background, to figure it out. And then I figured out the submissions they were telling me about, where you can hold a person's body so much that they tap out or quit, or give up for the match. And so, I really started getting good with that. And they were teaching me so many things. And, I was just trying to learn all of the different techniques and learn how to do everything so I could get better. And I really just picked up on it and started to become really good at it. And, I've got a lot of strong techniques now in different things. And I've gotten some championships and tournaments. I've won some things,
Wow, you've
and
gotten
I've
good.
really gotten better. I've gotten belts. I've advanced to the next level, and I've become at a higher level of it. And
Congratulations! Really, congratulations for all of that, and to hear how you've gone up in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA
and yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. With the belt to work my way up. They have different classes, and there's adult classes and where you're just trying to learn and start to understand. And then, there's a different level where you seem to kind of get it. And then, it gets up to purple, and then brown, and then black is going to be the top belt. And that's like, that you know everything and that you're really ready to compete. And, you can stay black forever. That, for the longest time. It always.
Very, very fascinating.
So you're an old man, you can still be a black belt.
Really?
I was very impressed that the Royce, the Gracie family, Horatio, I believe is his name, and he's 95 years old. 95. And he's the first one, and he's still got the belt, and he still wrestles and gets around and cuts up with the guys and rolls around and everything else. And I couldn't believe that he was 95 years old. I was very impressed. I had to get into it.
That's really cool. Well, all right. I really appreciate you telling that story. So, he's going to give us a little bit of a demonstration of some of the moves that you might see with this. So thank you. And welcome back, everybody. So we have moved our show outside, and we're going to show you some basic techniques in this demonstration. So we're outside. You guys get to be in, so enjoy.
All right. So I'm just going to explain a few of the basic techniques that we've got in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Normally you'd have a mat or a floor or anything, so some of the things in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we're not going to do that. I'm just going to show you some of the basic things like you can use in the outer world. If somebody were to attack you or whatever, you can defend yourself this way. Just a few different things that I'll be showing, just some basics. First of all, I'll start with an arm bar. And what that is if I've, taken you down to the ground and I've got you down this way, your first instinct is going to be to try to push me away from you, right? So what I can do is control the arm and come underneath you here. Now I've got to get the elbow with this backhand, and then with this offhand, I'm going to push down on the face here to where you can get around. You wrap your legs around the chest and head, and you're going to pull on this arm. And what you're trying to do, the arm bar concept is you're wanting to hurt this elbow joint and go the other way with it. And as soon as you do that, yep, you see him tapping out. That hurts a little bit, see? All right, now sit up. Go ahead and get up this way. And there's another thing, too, that I'm going to show you called guard, the way you can guard. And you'd be down here, and if the person's going to come attack me, so come down and attack me.
So get on top.
Right, like this. And then what I'm going to do is wrap my legs around him. And then what guard is going to be, that way I've got my hips in control, and I can move them side to side and protect my face this way. Because what I want to do maybe is capture one of his arms, and what that would be called is a kimura. And I'll show you what that is here in a second. As you're blocking, if you get a hold of this wrist, and you can wrap your hands and arms underneath this way, and make sure you interlock your hands like this, and bend that elbow back and put pressure on that shoulder joint, that's called a kimura. So again, and it's hard to escape. So you can, and this is how you would escape if you get outside of that arm, you can come around up from behind and wrap up this way. And if you get him around the neck this way, it's going to be called a rear naked choke. And that's what this is here. And I can slip my hands in this way, and I've got all kinds of pressure. I can go to my back, and he's going to tap out. See, that's done. And another one I want to show you is a little bit more difficult technique. It's called a triangle choke.
Triangle.
And this is what it looks like. You're going to come down this way. All right, so you're wrapped up in guard like this. If you can get control of a wrist and push that head away and advance one of your feet up there over the shoulder, and then you're going to interlock your legs. And once you squeeze him up like this, as soon as you pull that arm across and put a little pressure on his head this way, he can't breathe, and it'll be all over right there too. Now, let me tell you something. Do not do that in the outside world because, I mean, that can get real serious, and they'll pass out and go to the hospital and things like that. So don't try this at home, so to speak. This is in Brazil. This is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu move, but this is, there's just a few things to show you.
Well, there you go. Thank you so much for that demonstration, showing us some of those techniques. Again, do not do this at home. But again, thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you.